Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was trying to get the DVD player to work, but it's acting up. It wouldn't let me play some more of that trip. It's a lot longer trip than that. And it looks like now it's going to try and kick on. That said, hydrate, everybody. Um, that said, that was just a trip, part of the trip I took yesterday. And to me, that actually brings out like sort of a Zen moment for me is to go for a bike ride. I can't do it in the wintertime, so it's seasonal, obviously, unfortunately. Um, that bike's a ZZR 600 with a stage 3 jet kit in it. But I mean, yeah, it looks like a slow trip, but that's because I made it slow. It's when you take it on a back road, you're not going for speed. That said, if anyone wants to jump on, I did put the link in chat and I can drop it in again. If anyone would like to describe their Zen moments, what works for them, because it's different for everyone. I know a lot of people like to fish or hunt or go for hikes in the woods, birdwatch, any of those things. They all create, it's kind of like the same thing as we talked about last week, where I talked about unplugging. If you can find the most Zen moment for you, it's when you can kind of not just unplug, but kind of get your mind out of the thought process of constant thought. You get yourself completely out of every thought that you normally are having. I like that, the back roads especially like that, because I have to weave in and out of potholes and where to look out for road hazards. At the same time, I'm enjoying the scenery because there's a lot of waterways and stuff on the way through that trip. And then in the end, if anybody watched my Instagram, typically on the way back through, it comes right near the graveyard where my son's grave is. So I usually stop there sometimes too. All roads do lead to there eventually, but if I get there after that ride, it's a different situation than if I got there on a car trip or just went straight over. Puts me in the right frame of mind to deal with it. And thank you, Addie, for the links. Make sure you put the link if you have it for the. I don't have it up, but for the vaping trucker um, fundraiser, it's coming up. He's going through a lot. Could really use the help financially. It's going to be a strain for him. So if you can help out, please do. But I was trying to put up on here, and I can finally shut it off. I can shut it off with the other. Hold on a second. Wrong remote. That would help. There. um, Obviously, I don't have it up behind me, but we do have the Autism Awareness. You see the links coming up from Nightbot and chat for the Autism Awareness Society. They could still use some money and also just spread the word, create the acceptance and awareness that's needed. Let people know that it's there and the information's there because they have tons of information on there. If you click on the get to know about autism link, it's unbelievable what you can learn. Because autism's not a short, small spectrum thing. Sorry, I'm getting a little off tangent for the Zen moment, but it's something important that's going on at this moment. We're in the middle of Autism Awareness Month. So it's raining. Yeah, it's raining. Oh, yeah, it's raining here. I was reading it like Ern said it, but it's actually previously, yeah, it's raining today. So I'm glad I got that ride in yesterday. It was not supposed to be a nice day, but I was able to get in a ride. I went for a couple hours, and it helped. I've been stressing out a lot over a lot of things lately, trying to get things done around the house, getting springtime. One of the Zen moments for me, another thing is gardening, but in the spring it's not Zen, it's chaos. You have to get all your seeds started, you got to get your plants bought, you have to get your garden tilled. Yeah, so sometimes Zen creates a little work to begin with, and then eventually you can get to the point where you want to be. And I picked Zen this week because just because you unplug doesn't mean you're unplugging in the way that it benefits you most. It's kind of like last week I mentioned gaming. If you're gaming for goals, sometimes that doesn't create this Zen moment unless you win. But if you're not winning and you're just fighting and fighting, sometimes it can actually create more of like a turmoil within yourself and actually create more anxiety. So, try to do whatever works best for you to get out of that thought process. Yeah, and Derek, good to see you here too. Actually, while I'm thinking of it here, who do we have here tonight? I haven't even looked. I saw Vaping Chat. I was here early. Yep. Tabitha, good to see you. Derek, Addie Tooney, and Ern. Good to see all of you here. And this family just The ones that are here every week, thank you very much. This helps me as much as it could help anyone else because I might not have taken that ride yesterday. I'm going to be honest. I would have probably changed my mind and not went out yesterday. But because I wanted to get some video, and Lady Liberty can attest for this, I went and got out and did what I know actually does help me, but it's hard sometimes to motivate yourself through yourself. So if you can use, even if it is an excuse and you know it, use someone else's excuse as an excuse to get started. You can sometimes bring yourself to a point where you're doing things that are good for yourself, regardless of how it gets going. Zen Genesis Addy. You know what? That can count if you enjoy it. If you still enjoy the Genesis Addy, sure. Rebuilding it can be a Zen moment. I know some days in the wintertime, I'll sit down and I'll rebuild every one of my Addies until I get them just the way I want them. And even if I think it's perfect, I might retry it. And you'd be surprised how much a little change in your coil placement or something like that can change everything. So yeah, I would say that would count. Motorcycle maintenance, turning wrenches, all those things count. You think about, we all know Tenacious TX, Stan. For Stan, turning wrenches or working with metal or doing the painting and repairs on those old vehicles, that's Zen for him. For him to be able to change around and create a channel to show what he loves, that I nothing but love for the guy. Just for that alone, let alone he's just a nice person. So that said, what I mean, other than the Zen Genesis, what else do you guys got for? Okay, Lady Liberty, writing an artwork on my Zen, cuddles of the bunny when she's when she's not trying to get to me. In other words, uh, great for books. Oh, another thing, books. Obviously, that can be a Zen moment for many people. Does anyone else like the Xanth series or Piers Anthony books? I actually prefer Bio of a Space Tyrant series the most. It's kind of risque, I'll be honest, but it's so well defined and so emotionally involved. He does a really good job with that, making you feel what the characters are feeling, even if it's something that's not quite what you would like to feel. You kind of get that submersion into the book. I like the way he works with details. So, is anyone else a Piers Anthony fan? I'm just curious because that's one of my favorite authors. When it comes to poetry, I do like poetry. I'm definitely an Edgar Allan Poe person. I like that deep, dark thing. I guess it's where I felt comfortable for many years. Still do sometimes. So definitely can bring that out. Going on jogs with my headphones in or building coils. Yeah. We have a lot of coil builders that we know. Derek being one that builds his own coils, but there's many people in our community, our family, that build coils, and that not only is it Zen, but sometimes it turns into like an extra income or a livelihood, which is even more interesting. Careful though, because it's easy to change what used to be a Zen into feeling like work, and then that takes away from it. Yeah, K-Fun modding. Yeah, some of the things you do. I mean, creation is what I'm getting from that, Addie. You like to create things. Excuse me. Same with your mixology. You're very, very good at it, and there's a reason for that because you enjoy it. I see that with Fresh. I see that with you. I see that KVTV, Mitch, Sifu, Wendy, DeMillan. All these people are just the creations they make. You can see the pride they have especially when it comes out to be a really good mix. That thought process, they have to submerge themselves into it to think about what's going to work here. And Addie's one that's really good about thinking outside the box. If you have questions, you don't have the right flavors, talk to Addie, talk to Fresh, talk to one of these guys. They will answer your questions in a way you're like, how did you make that out of that? And it works. Recently, we also know that Mrs. Green, yeah, it feels weird to call her Mrs. Green, but yeah, Mrs. Green. She's just going to kill me for not just calling her Pickle. She's actually become quite the mixer herself, as a matter of fact, and created things from other things that aren't exactly what they are. So these things can really make your mind think, and that's just it. The farther you can get your mind, it's submersed into a thought process and let the other thoughts fade and kind of back off. That's what a Zen moment's all about. And if you can create that for yourself, yeah. See, Yeah, that's true too. See Black the Gym. That's a good one. That also not only does it can it zen you out, and it can. I used to really get into it really heavily, and then obviously I've had some joint repairs and stuff that make it a little bit more difficult for me to really get into it. It sucks because I do enjoy getting into that mode where you can't think of anything but what you're doing. You have to you in that one. I used to push myself to the point where I was so exhausted I couldn't think. All I could think of is one more rep, and that's all you could think. If you can get that and get to that point, that's actually a really good way to kind of stress your body and your mind to the point where it creates a euphoria. There's no better way to describe that. Complete exhaustion sometimes is like hitting the reset button. And if you can do that, and if even if you do that and it's not doesn't take much, say you haven't gotten any exercise for a long time, maybe a little walk, a little run, a little bit of time lifting some weights. Maybe you can get yourself a pair of dumbbells or something. It doesn't have to be heavy. A 5 pound weight, if you lift it enough times, it will feel heavy. If anybody saw me with that Titan and on the Chubby Able stack, by the end of a vlog, by the end of the Thursday night vlog, that thing felt heavy. So it felt like a workout just picking up because I couldn't set down because it's AV. So screw out button. It's either screw it in every time or hold it. It's like, yeah, don't recommend. I definitely need a better device for that. Simplicity of the process is very clear. Yeah, if you're achieving something. And that's two, if you can push yourself to a goal, set two sets of goals at least. One that you're pretty sure you can achieve, but it's going to still push you. And then set another goal that's really what you want to do, but you're not really sure if you can do it. And push to the second goal. But then if you don't make the second goal and you make the first one, at least you've accomplished your minimum. Consider it like a minimum maximum. Especially when it comes to exercise, lifting weights, or anything like that. Or maybe even just kicking yourself out of depression. Because I did see that suicide awareness link that Addie just put in. Any of these things are extremely important. And as we know, a lot of people in the community have lost people to suicide. I lost my father. I almost lost myself because of that situation. So it's hard to talk about sometimes, and then sometimes it's easier. I'll be honest, after going to my son's grave twice this past week, I'm feeling a little bit more on the downside, so I'm trying not to get too deep into that thought process at the moment, but it is there. It will always be there to some degree. Yeah. And the Nightbot's posting it too for the Discord. Hopefully that link works. If not, then I will let me know and I'll change it out. But that's a place for us all to get together. And if you need when it's quiet, that's actually can be a really good thing when it's quiet in there. That means that people are, getting along, doing what they need to do. And maybe they might be taking some time themselves, but they know they have some place to go and talk if they need to. It's always going to be someone around within a short period of time to be there if you need to talk. And don't be afraid to talk. I'll be in there for one. I check it many times a day. If something's really going on, I'll check it more often. And once I catch wind of what's going on. And I'm not going to let you go through it alone if you don't have to, because I've been there. I've went through things alone, and it's so much harder. This community has brought me out of so many depression states of mind that I can't even tell you how much thanks I have. And if you just want something, here's I'll challenge you this week. This week, just you don't have to stay, but try to see how many chats or shows you can catch Addie Tooney on and tally it up for next week. I'll ask this question next week. See how many times you can catch Addie in a chat or in a show. I'm willing to bet you the number is quite high if you try hard enough. I mean, for me, that's a challenge every week. I try to catch as many shows as he's on when it's impossible to catch them all. So there's a challenge for you if you want something, a little extracurricular activity there for that. Yeah, reading apps on our phone. Yeah, good old-fashioned book. I prefer a book. I don't know what it is about the phone, but I can't get into it as much. I've tried the audio apps too, and it doesn't give me the same feel as if I'm reading. If I can really get into a book, I start to put myself into the book, no matter how far out there it is. And see, my problem is I can't get into, say, history books. Most of them are boring to me, but there are a few documentaries that are done in such a way that it kind of submerses you into their thought process. Those are the ones I like. Like, although it isn't my favorite book, I would say Diary of Anne Frank is a good example where it brings you into the realm of what happened to them and then all. It's that spoiler alert, but the end is she just stops having entries, which leads you to believe you know what happened, but you don't know. You always hope for the best, but yeah. Derek, you help me every day we talk. Derek's been a real good support for a lot of people. Um, which, by the way, we should shout out because Derek has paid it forward once or twice already. Um, there have been some giveaways on Texas Mom 09's Instagram channel, so tune in over there once she goes live. For Autism Awareness Month, there's been some charity from some of the community and outside the community, and they're doing some giveaways. Ooh, ooh. Oh, wait a minute. What? For who? Addie, you don't need to do that. Although I won't deny having a K fund from Addie Tooney would be freaking awesome. Um, but yeah, go ahead and check out. Sorry about that pause. When you're doing it alone, it's a little different. I'm still kind of transitioning. I'm trying to do my best here with this. It's a little weird still being the only one talking on camera, but the show must go on, so to speak, and this is important to get this information out there every week and beyond. That's why the Discord's there. If you need help other times, and if it is a need for it, please be sure to let me know. I mean, if there's something that's really direly important, it might not even be you. It might be someone else that you're worried about, similar to like the vaping trucker right now. You know, we reach out as a community. We help each other as best we can. That's something that most communities do not do to the level this one does. That's why this is more of a family than any community I've ever seen. And it doesn't mean it matter if you are a part of the vaping community or not. We will help you as best we can. And we hope that that goes both ways because it's the reason that the community comes together. It comes together out of a place of love and caring for your health and the health of others. That's something that the core beliefs bring out the positivity that's needed. And that's something that is almost a Zen in itself. Has anyone else had that feeling from others in the community, just getting to know them and having them be a part of the community and be a part of the family? Has it changed your life in a better way where you can kind of, when you talk to them, it brings out that really happy feeling? Vaping Jedi, Josh, you're one of them. Like I said, someday you're going to have to get Mackenzie up here and we're going to have to go fishing or something. I mean, it'd just be fun. Trust me, it's easy to fish in my pond because no one else can fish there. So the fish aren't used to a lot of people catching them. It's really easy. Easiest way is just a worm on a hook and you're all set to go. So you don't have to do any, you can do trickery if you want to, but you don't need to. So these are the things that I want to see more of. And I want to create something beyond what's on here, beyond online. I have things in the work outside of obviously doing the shows. I do things and try to reach out and branch out as much as I can. In the end, I would not be surprised if you see more than just one or two people from the community actually living here on this property. I've got a lot of work to do to get the apartments up and running, but if it's needed, I'm going to try and create a community where people can go and feel safe and be around other people that care. I want those type of people around me. I don't want just random people. I will be picky in selection, but at the same time, if you're part of this community, you're probably well within that selection process. So less worry for some people as best I can. That's just one thing. Yeah, Ern, you've been through a lot. You have, just from what I know, and I don't know what everyone else knows, but it's important and it's understanding and feeling. And I've seen you giving back lately and giving back through your feelings, through some of your poetry and some of your writings too. This is stuff that If you're not a part of the Discord, you would know about it. But there's some stuff in there that Ern has wrote that it's touching. It's deep, and if you really read it, it can give you an understanding of maybe yourself as well as what he's went through. That's the type of thing that's a crossover right there. It can be a Zen moment, getting those feelings out on paper, or in this case, digitally. In the end, whether it was on paper first, I don't know. Yeah, I imagine that, Aaron. Father this Rucker. I hope I got that right. But yeah, these are just the tip of the iceberg. Is only part of it. That's the other thing. Let's also try to focus on if you see that some of the community falling apart, because we are going through a lot of stressful times right now. It's only going to get worse throughout this month and the next couple months. Try to keep their chin up. Just if they get a chance to talk to them, let them know. There you go, typewriter. Let them know, that you're still there for them, and not to worry as much. Just do what they can, and admit you'll support them no matter what they do. We have seen some success stories, like I was talking about, Tenacious TX. Things aren't going so well in this community, doesn't know what's going to happen with it, so he also is now doing something else he loves. He's doing his car restoration. Very positive thing for him to do, plus he still has a regular full-time job. You have others in the community. As sad as it was to see what happened to Kennedy, at least he has he is able to build up enough machinery and stuff to make his machine shop a functional machine shop beyond just making products for this community. It's still sad, and I hope to someday to see that reversed and him to be able to come back and do what he was loved and was enjoying. If anybody has a Kennedy or a Kennedy product, you understand the quality and the time you put into it. For one, his buttons, I don't even have the constant contact. I have the old one, but just the sheer design of how you can just quickly change the throw on it. It's ingenious. And these are things that innovation should never quit. And I hope these people are still doing stuff, still figuring things out while they're off on the side and they can't do things directly. That way there, when the time comes and things open back up, they can do what they love again. But they have a little, kind of secret little hidden cachet of knowledge on the side. There you go. The fundraiser for Mike right there. Nightbot. I did put the fundraiser in. Yes, I don't have the link to the show, but I do have the fundraiser. That's for the vaping trucker. If you can, I know it's tough times for a lot of people, but if you have a little bit of spare cash, it doesn't take much. Give them a helping hand. There will be giveaways on the fundraiser night, and it doesn't. If you donate now, you won't necessarily get in on the giveaway. So if that matters to you, wait. But if it matters more to you, just to help out anytime you can. You can help out more than once if you can, because his bills are going to be extremely expensive no matter what the treatment option is. And this is an extremely important thing as times go forward. The dog is making noise. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, U.S. I'm very thankful for non-U.S. right now. I'm thankful for the UK, and they're pushing back already. That gives me hope, because I was expecting that to take 5 to 10 years before we saw any actual pushback anywhere on a global scale. The UK pushing back gives me hope that the community is going to be able to pull through a lot faster through this and reverse it a lot faster than you see in other communities that had to fight, without getting into it too much, like the THC market. They had to fight for damn near a century to try and get back what they lost. And it's something we need to see. Got to meet your barber's dog. Animals are great. If anybody knows enough about me and has been here before, you know that the bunny and the cat that just showed up at my house one day and never left, found out didn't belong to anyone. Someone dropped him off. I named him Richard, best name ever, because he has that look, that dick look. So, he's a sweetheart though. And then I got the bunny, of course, and the dogs. Still got one goat left. Still got one chicken left. And they're just pets now. They're not around for any other reason. So yeah, animals are zen to me as well. That's one of the reasons why I like to go on nature walks. And the security cameras, we don't call them really security cameras, although they have helped us with some issues we've had. But more or less, it's reality TV. At nighttime, we get to watch. Last night we saw a fox going up the road, for instance. You never know what you're going to see on that camera. We have seen mountain lions. They were here for a couple of years. Don't know where they wound up going, but they haven't been around a while. Thankfully, the other animals are coming back because they had literally hunted it down, so we barely saw anything on camera. You never saw any other predators either while they were around. The fox wouldn't have been here. The fisher cats we saw. We've seen bobcats. We have seen lynx. We used to see flying squirrels all the time before the mountain lions showed up. We haven't seen them lately. But these are things that, I mean, sometimes I just like to watch the cameras at night just because you never know what I'm going to see. We had an owl show up that tried to get in a chicken coop that was taller than a chicken coop door. And I walked out the door, got 10 feet from him, realized he wasn't scared of me at all, and realized it probably shouldn't have went out there unarmed because he big boy or girl, I'm not sure. Yeah, well, the foxes, when we first had the goats, we had a bunch of goats, and they tried to get in to get one of them. I had to put rock around the edges, so they can be a problem. But I have a pond and a stream, and the pond's kind of like a watering hole around here, so the animals come over here. So obviously the predators occasionally come around and hunt. So unfortunately, that's a thing. They are considered kind of a pest, but they haven't bothered any of our animals lately. I just, I kind of prevented everything by putting rocks around where they could dig in, like the chicken coop or the goat pens and stuff like that, if there's anything like that. So if you can do that. My problem lately is river rats because they got into the garden bed last year and kept chewing up plants. So that was a problem. That's something I'm dealing with this year. I'm actually just, instead of, obviously because the river's right there, getting rid of them is virtually impossible. I'm going to try some of the electronic things, but I got to be careful because the electronic repellents and the poisons or anything like that could actually affect my other animals. So I got to be really careful because I have a lot of animals as well. So I don't really like to do the poisons that much. And the pest repellent, if I got an electronic one, I got to make sure it's not got a radius that's going to affect, the rabbit, the goats, the chicken, any of those. So I'm not really, that's my next attempt and I'm going to screen it in with 1/2-inch screen, the whole garden area. It's already got a fence around it. I'm just going to have to put that around and put something so I can't dig underneath. Yeah, we had used to get turkeys through here before before the mountain lions came. We used to have them come through the field across the road by the flock. Sadly, since those mountain lions were here, none. Not a single turkey has went through the yard that we've seen, which is really sad because we're talking a lot of them. I have been reading about that, Josh. I was looking into it just the other day. It comes in pellet form. It won't kill anything else. It apparently only will kill certain animals. Unfortunately, I hate to kill anything, but rats are not exactly something you want a lot of around. So, parents chicken pellet. I would love to see that. You got to take some pictures of that and put it in the Discord, and we could check it out. That would be awesome. Animals are awesome. I mean, think about it. You even have Thesis has a shop chicken. I mean, does that say anything? Thesis, of all people, it actually has a pet chicken that he keeps around, and it does all kinds of strange things with, but loves that chicken. So, it can happen with anyone. You'd be surprised at what type of animal you could fall in love with. You have Jenny Sin, who's loves her rats. So does Lethal Coils, has his rats and such. And these animals, that you think of them as being not an animal you'd fall in love with, but yet they have huge hearts and you wouldn't expect it. They come from the strangest places. Yeah, she's slightly spoiled. The chicken is. Sorry about the ums. Try not to. Just it made me think about tonight. I got sorry, I did it again. Nick Green, Grim Green tonight is going to be on. He's got the puppy. We talk about it. We always say something. Let's do something Come up with your best emojis that have to do with loving his puppy. Anything. Just come up with something through the show. We'll try and pick the best one before the end of the show and go with that tonight in his show. Spam, because, you know, Nico needs some love too. Ooh, yeah. I had a rooster that I named Puppy, who actually protected me. Him and his brothers protected me from the other rooster that we had taken in. The other rooster was fine because he wasn't really acquainted yet, but as he got comfortable, he started getting really mean and would actually try to attack me. But those other roosters, because they'd been hand raised, they actually attacked him and knocked him on his butt. It was really interesting to see, but one of them lived the longest, became Puppy. He used to follow me around. He's literally just like a puppy, right around your leg, and had to pet him and cuddle him every time I went out and fed him. Obviously, because of the predators around, he was in a 10 by 10 kennel when he was outside. So, Buddy would always go out there and just cuddle with him. Worst rooster crow I'd ever recorded. You know, some of those roosters can have a terrible sounding crow. It's amazing how they don't sound like a chicken. Has anybody ever went to a farm or been by a farm where they heard this terrible noise and they're trying to figure out what it was just to find out it was a rooster or chicken? Other than obviously Ern, his experiences. Oh, there we go. We got somebody here. Let's see what kind of stories he has, because I know he does. You always have something good to say.
Hey,
Hey, so how you doing, buddy? You're not
not bad
working.
yourself.
You're not working.
What's that?
You're not working. I'm so impressed. I thought you lived there. I could have swore you had a cot in the back of the car.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel that way.
All right, wait, Michael.
Oh,
And there's the boss of the house right there. I just saw her
yep.
in the background. Yep.
How's
Here's
everything
another-
going with you?
Great. And here's another wonderful member of the community who's actually learned a lot about you in the past month, you know, with you and Mackenzie and everybody. But it's just how much of a big heart you have as well. And that actually matters a lot to me. It makes a huge difference. It's good to see that there's so much heart, and it's good to see someone come forward, start doing something and be on lives.
Yeah.
It makes me very excited for you.
Well, yeah, you know the story. It's been a long time coming. It just I needed that one extra push, and I got that push. So, and I mean, you know, I was just talking to my wife. You guys, I mean, Vermont's not very far, so that could be a day trip.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking, as we got talking more about it, actually, it was Hope said something about when Caitlin gets here, and I said, but he lives only a state away. It's possible it could happen before Caitlin gets here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you can show Lethal what a real fish looks like. Sorry, Lethal, I had to pick on you. Actually, he is a good fisherman. As much as we pick on him, he is a damn good fisherman, actually. So,
Excuse me. Yeah, some of the Mass people don't know what real fish look like because they live a little too far, landlocked.
that can be true. Unless the people live near the ocean and they catch the ocean fish too. I've seen some stripers and stuff caught out of there that got brought home. They're huge.
I'm right on a main river that'll run out to the bay, and I've gotten into friends' boats and we've gone right out, and they're hooking stripers and blues, and we got a fishing port probably I don't know 25 minutes away in New Bedford. It's a huge shipping and fishing community.
Oh, my pond is a trout pond, native brook trout only in it, and it's just full of them. We had I had thought because Irene washed a lot of fill into it, so the pond was about a third the size it used to be, but still got a dam at the bottom. So I didn't know if there's any fish left in there hardly, so I didn't bother checking it. And then one day I come home, and there's this guy fishing with a fly rod, and I'm like, okay, you're trespassing, by the way. Go over there to let him know, and he apologized. But he also sent me some of the video and stuff of catching it. He was actually a conservation officer who does testing of fish. He takes some DNA samples from the fish, and he said it was the best trout fishing place in the entire state of Vermont. It goes the fact that it's private and no one has access to it without crossing your property. He goes, it's going to stay that way. So it's like, okay. So I started fishing it, and oh my God, so easy. He was catching them with a fly rod, so he was able to cast a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah.
But simple little worm and a hook, and you can catch trout all day long. I always caught my fill, come in, cook them up, and no one else in the house likes trout. Native brook trout, delicious.
I don't think I've ever actually had trout.
Well, if you like fish, we can always fry some up too if you come up. So,
I'm a fish guy. I like fish.
No one else in the house does. They'll touch fish sticks, and that's about as close as they come.
My wife won't eat it. Mackenzie will only eat tuna fish, but it's gotta be dressed up for a sandwich.
My daughter, for the longest time, would not eat fish, wouldn't touch mayonnaise with a 10-foot pole. You couldn't even put it on a sandwich. Nope, wouldn't touch it. But you put tuna fish and mayonnaise together, and she loves it. So, what? But now she's opened up. She still doesn't like fish, but now she uses mayonnaise. So that was a big step when she turned like 18 and she decided, oh, I'll eat mayonnaise now. It's like, Zen moment. My daughter eats mayonnaise. She puts something on there other than salt and pepper. So
it seems like mayonnaise is one of the big things for a lot of people. They can't get around it, whether it's the taste or the consistency or whatever.
She just didn't like anything on her sandwich except for meat, cheese, lettuce, tomato. That's it. It's all could be on her sandwich. She was really picky for the longest time. So, what's a Zen moment for you?
Just
dog snore.
Just dog fart?
Dog snore. Don't even bring that up. You'll summon it.
Honestly, it's when I get home after a shift, I sit down on the couch and just tinker with something. I'll pull a build out of something and rebuild it and rewick it, and that's part of the reason I like. I mean, I can't build to save my life. I install. I messed up round wire back in the day. That's how bad it was.
You want a challenge for round wire?
Oh God.
Okay, so the round wire builds in these. One wire. That's one wire.
I've seen those.
You have to put it through and you have to build it in it. Yeah, it's a continuous wire to go through that center post because it won't fit any other way. That's a Patriot. I got two of them over here, and I did a single wire build. And those are rowdy coils for those little holes. What I need to do is I need to do an Addy Toonie type thing to this thing to make it actually decent. Because those holes do not hold up well to that hole.
My first RDA was a Nimbus, and it was pretty much the airflow of the Patriot.
Yep. Yeah, I picked those up because, like you, I like to tinker, and it was before I got into vaping. But I like to take out the old things and kind of learn where it came from. And sometimes I learn things from where it came from. Some things are forgotten about. And I did find that there's some airflow patterns that actually are kind of smoother than what we have now. And I wonder why we don't integrate them into there. I got thoughts rolling up here all the time, and I have a lot of them on paper now too. Eventually, if I can get enough ahead, I'll actually start building prototypes. What I'd love to do is get like a 3D printer to test airflows and stuff. Put coils in, whether or not they are going to function, and see how the airflow feels, because that's the hardest part.
They're relatively cheap now.
Yep.
I think a buddy of mine picked up his for like $150 off of eBay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have. That's a step I'm looking at to make it cheaper than building it out of the block. Building it out of like extrusion, it's gonna take a lot more. But I do
Yeah.
have a lot of stuff here, and I have access to a 3-axis. I just got to pay a monthly fee, but there's a place that has a 3-axis CNC machine.
Oh,
I just am
nice.
so used to using a 5-axis or a 7 that it's going to be weird to go to just a 3. It's going to be harder. You got to think more because the machining's not quite the same. But
Buddy
I'm going to
mine's
get
got
there.
basically a machine shop in his garage. He's got a couple of old like 1940s, 1950s lathes. It's like you bust out a mech mod in like 3-4 hours.
Yeah, I know. That's actually something I've really considered doing with everything the way it's going. We'll see what happens. If it goes there and it's not a choice but to do that, if I want to have some products, I have to make my own. I have the know-how. It's having the money and the ambition to push myself towards that. Right now, it's like the ambition's sort of there, but it's not really. But if it gets to the point where I can't get anything else, yeah, my ambition level's going to go way up. So, and I
Yeah,
have to.
I'm still cautiously optimistic about this whole thing. So
Yep, I am too. I don't think it's going to be as bad as we thought, but be prepared for the worst in case it happens.
oh yeah.
So, your battered fried haddock is oh yes. Actually, that is one that I believe Lady Liberty would eat. She does like fried haddock. I believe it's haddock. She'll yell at me if I'm wrong. You'll hear it in a minute when she hears the replay. But it's just no. Since I got a chance to meet you, I mean, I've seen you in chats forever, but I didn't meet you until recently, and it's like this is one of those things that you just kind of wish you could meet everybody. I wish we had proper events going on so we could all meet up and say hi, because it's just you don't really. I didn't realize how much I would enjoy the community and how much it took the 2 DC rallies to open my eyes to the fact that I don't get the crowd anxiety I get like I get with everything else. And I just went way out of focus.
Yeah. So
I finally figured out what store the puppuccino's from. Pup Bucks. It's like Starbucks, but Pup Bucks.
There you go.
Puppuccino. See? Puppuccino.
Puppuccino. Yum. Yeah, it's just like
yeah, I mean, I just wish that the community was what it was back in 2012, 2013. There's, past few years, there's been a lot of infighting and, my shit's better than your shit. Why are we shaming people for quitting smoking? I don't care if you use a Cigalite or a smoke product and I use a mech and an RDA.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I will always suggest to somebody that an RTA or an RDA could be a better experience in the long run because you don't have to buy coil heads, but you don't want to push them outside their comfort zone.
Yep.
Wait a second.
And it's harm reduction. In the end of the day, is it going to make their health better? Is it going to be a healthier life choice? I still can't believe we have to fight for that. For me, that would be a Zen moment right there. The day that we're told that, your health choice is okay. You're not going to fight you for it anymore. That would make a difference. I do not understand. I know a lot of it is ignorance. It truly is ignorance, not knowing what's going on, not bothering to learn. But it's sad. It's very sad that someone, we won't mention his name, the big B man that we can't stand, has a lot of money to throw around, and money talks. And it's unfortunate that we really have to fight so hard because of things like that. Just somebody with a personal agenda.
I just love the fact that he is now catching heat for throwing money at the Filipino government.
Yeah, but he's only getting heat for throwing it if they can't figure out a way to hide it.
Right.
That's what they're doing right now. They're trying to figure out a way to hide it or make a back way. It's sad. He'll get away with it. He's got money to throw at it, so he'll get away with that.
He's got that. Sure. He's got that. Fuck you money.
Yep.
And,
he does.
Yeah. And that's part of what maybe some new vapors don't understand about the industry is it's still considered in its infancy. We don't have the backing or the financial backing that, you know, pharmaceutical and tobacco companies have. You know, I'm also not going to shame anybody for wanting to smoke. You smoke, you smoke. That is your choice as a human being.
Yep.
But you have to understand, as you know, with the new vapors, they're not understanding why they can no longer get the products that they were getting 6 months ago. Whether it's because they are so new they weren't introduced to legislation soon enough, or they weren't able to get the information from a discernible source other than mainstream media.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. Mainstream media is owned by people like Bloomberg. Sorry, I did say his name. I don't want to summon the devil here. So, but
just don't say it 2 more times. We'll be fine.
But he has so much money and so much power and so much. He owns a chunk of the media. That makes it really hard for us to get the truth out there. And of course, what did even the politicians see on news? Look up Ivali right now. It's not going to show the retraction for at least a few paragraphs before it shows any form of retraction. It still reads like it's still nicotine vaping and not tainted THC. It's not even THC carts because people are starting to think, oh my God, I can't touch them. No, these are black market made in your bathtub or garage carts.
Dr. Crimmy's.
This isn't, I mean, I can't even tell you how many people I've heard that are terrified to touch a THC cart now. It's like, and they always did. In some places you can't, like in New York, you can't have the flower. The way they set up, you can have the oil, but not the flower, I believe.
I was just going to say, didn't they just legalize medicinal
I don't know if
or recreational?
They at least the way it was, I don't know if it is, but it had something to do with the THC cartridges. I don't know. One of the other is illegal, but I thought it was the flower you couldn't get a hold of. But there are some states you can't get a hold of the flower, so the carts are an option, one of the only options. Well, how do you do that if you're scared of them? They set it up so you're scared of them, even though it's not the ones. Well, with this exception of a few shady pharmacy dispensaries that were selling it. It's not actually those. Those are proper. They're made with the proper thing. The vitamin E acetate, that was added by someone because they said, "Hey, this makes it look good, and it works." At least as far as we can tell.
It was a cheaper way to extract the THC from the plant.
Yep, exactly. It had nothing to do with anything other than they were just trying to cut costs, make something that makes money, and it was somebody just backyard brew type thing, except for they weren't using the proper ingredients. And yes, that's dangerous to put in your lungs. You can't put straight oil in your lungs because it'll coat it and then it stop any absorption of oxygen.
Were you around for the Dr. Crimmy's debacle?
I don't think so.
They were legit called out for making stuff in a bathtub, making e-liquid in a bathtub.
I have heard about that. Yes, I've heard about it. I wasn't around for it.
I think that was like 2013, 2014, and then Adore e-liquid was called out similarly, but not for literally making it in the bathtub, just claiming they were in a ISO facility and they were in somebody's basement.
Yeah, my brother actually recently has switched. Trying to get him on something that's more maintainable. He lives in New York, so obviously he's limited. So all he can really get a hold of right now is Juul, and it's expensive. And they keep on trying to raise it even more with more taxes. So I'm trying to get him on something else that might require like a little bit of this alternative means of getting it to him. But that said,
is he satisfied with like pods?
Yeah, what I'd like to get him is something Caliburn-esque, something maintainable, something refillable. He'd rather have something refillable. But he probably will need Nick Salts for a while because he's used to Nick salts. But it's working for him. He's been cigarette free for the whole year so far. That was his New Year's resolution. So
I have two pod systems that are not being used. One is a Tesla Invader that is basically brand new. I tried it, didn't like it, couldn't get the mouth to lung off of it that I wanted. So it got cleaned out and sat back in the box. And I also have the Smoke RPM 40.
that would probably be a better option because those are easier to get the coils.
Okay.
It's got to be something he can get coils for, is all. But I'm proud of him. He did it on his own.
Give me his address.
Yep.
Give me his address or your address, and I'll send it to you or him, whatever. It's even got the Smoke even comes with a rebuildable head. So if he ever ventures to that, he'll be all set with the RBA head.
Yeah, but I'm proud of him for doing that in a time when it's, for one, he lives in New York, and I will tell you the propaganda ads in New York are horrible. I'm sure Addie can attest to that. But like the local stations, it's been my mother who isn't even I almost had her switch just before the Avali scare. She was gonna switch during Christmas time. I was gonna get her set up and stuff, and then the Avali scare came out, and she just didn't trust it enough. But
yeah.
She's starting to think about it again because he lives with her. So
right.
This is really good news, and I'm loving seeing this because I mean I've lost a lot of family members to lung cancer because of smoking. It's been pretty common, and I have a really heavily military family, and like Lady Liberty was saying about her brother, people that go into the Army or any branch of service sit around and wait, and a lot of times they pick up smoking. Back when I was enlisted, boot camp was basically you smoked or you're going to get roped into something because they're going to look around and say, oh, you're busy, you're smoking. Oh, you're not doing anything. Come on over here and help. And you get roped into doing more, which is kind of the opposite. You'd think hey, you're being healthy. Good on you. I'll pick some of these other guys and have them stop. You'd think that'd be the way it works, but no, that's not how it works. So, or at least it didn't back then.
So I do have one actual coil head, the RBA pod, and the Nord pod.
Well, that would be a good start for him. He's been thinking about it. It would be. So.
I know you said Nick salts, but I've got a bunch of 6 milligram freebase.
He's going to try the freebase. I'm going to try and get him to go freebase, but I'm afraid because he's been on the Nick salts with the Jewel. You know how those go. You get used to that Nick salt. Well, theirs is worse. I'll be honest. That's more addictive kind in a lot of ways because of the way it absorbs so quickly. Because it'll give you that quick high you don't really get off the others. I mean, we all know this if we've been around vaping long enough, but this is why a lot of us, including myself, have a love-hate relationship when it comes to Nick salts. I love that it gets some people off that are on that verge where they couldn't do it without it. I love that. But I hate the fact that some people that could have quit without it wound up stuck on it and now they can't get off it.
I started using it in a Caliburn just to have with me at work rather than carrying like a full mod and bottle of juice and whatnot. But it took a while to come off of Nick salts, like 25, 50 milligram Nick salts. And thankfully right now, just in the ether, I've got some 12 milligram from Mitch, 50-50. And it works fine for work. But these bottles have been opened, but they haven't really been used very much. I got them secondhand to me, and I can't think of a better reason to pass them on. So,
yep. Yeah, I know the feeling. This is something right here. What you just experienced, if anybody's watching this on replay or before, this is the type of thing you don't see in other communities, not like this level, because we all want to see people better their lives, better their health, mentally and physically. And that's something that you don't see on so many levels this deep or for this long. I'm not going to keep people much longer. I'm going to let. I know Josh has got this really awesome show coming up this weekend. Really excited for it. So I want to make sure he gets time to say that. And that's if you are a yo-yo or if you just enjoy having a good time hanging out with a good person, regardless of whether or not you vape, the vlog starts in half an hour. So yeah, Nick Green, Grim Green. So yeah, why don't you tell them about this weekend? Because I know you got something coming up.
Sure. First of all, Tim, I appreciate you just throwing your Zoom link in your chat and just taking on anybody that's willing to have a quick conversation. You and I can sit here and talk for hours. It's pretty easy. But this weekend, myself and my co-host Adam Sloan, the Cloud Cartel UK, follow him on Instagram. He has a YouTube channel as well, the Cloud Cartel UK. He's got a new show along with Duchess and Clown called Codename Wired, where they talk about all coil building and everything from when they started to why they started to where they're at now, including retail settings and wholesale. So that's going to be a good one as well. This weekend, him and I have our regular podcast episode. We're recording on Saturday night. We put it up on Sunday afternoon. But running with the theme of Autism Awareness Month, we're going to have Hope on. We're going to have Texas Mama on, and she's going to get the chance to talk to Adam face to face, but you'll only hear our voices about the major differences on autism awareness and advocacy in the UK versus what's here in the States. And if you didn't know, I say the UK because Adam's from London, and the name of our podcast is Across the Pond. Typically, it's a very broad spectrum conversation. We do a little bit of vape advocacy. We do a little bit of bullshitting here and there. We have some topics that we come up with, but it's an all-around good time. And if you guys want to check it out, it's on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and Google. Give us a like, give us a follow. I'm on Instagram, _Vaping Jedi. My email, if you want it, vaping_Jedi@outlook.com. I work night shifts, so I'm up all kinds of hours. Anybody, anywhere in the United States, time zones don't make a difference to me. If for some reason you feel the need, you need to reach out, my DMs are open, my email's open. Go ahead and feel free. Dive in. I don't care. I'll answer you eventually.
Yeah, and Addy put the link to Cloud Cartel in for his YouTube channel.
Oh, thanks, Addy.
Addy.
Addy's gonna be a future guest as well. Him and I have been talking back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, he's kind of the heart of the community. He really is.
I don't think this has been. I think this may have been mentioned once before, but we'll give you an exclusive. Across the Pond is going to be turned into a YouTube live show. Our 10th episode will be with Mitch Hoggett sometime in June, and thereafter it will be a live show. We will still be cutting the audio and putting it up on SoundCloud, but we have gotten to the point where we're comfortable enough to move on to another platform.
That's awesome.
And we need to get you on too.
Anytime. Yeah. Good people. I've seen so many really kind-hearted shows come up this past year. So many more that are just the heart showing. And that's where I'd like it to continue. This infighting thing, just try to support whoever you can, but don't add to the drama, because they can, if you let the drama kind of fizzle, they'll get back to normal. But if you add to the drama just because you like drama, well, it's going to probably stay a while. But it's just sad to see. I mean, a lot of it's just stress. People just acting
Yeah.
out under stress, and it's
And
understandable. There's a lot going on.
we started this because to curb the COVID boredom. The UK is still under pretty rigorous lockdowns. Adam can still go to work, but his wife works from home. They're only allowed out of their house for needs like groceries, pharmacy, hospital, stuff like that. You can be fined if you're caught out walking around without a liable excuse. So it's it got to him as much as it got to me. So it was really a no-brainer. We got to bullshit, and because I work nights and he's in the UK, 7 o'clock in the morning there is 3 a.m. here. So I'm awake, and he would put up a good morning post in the Yo-Yo Discord, and I'm the only one that's talking to him.
I completely get that, because that's like me and Legion and Squidly and them when I start talking to them and at Breestones. It's like, why are you still up? Because you're on, but you stayed up for us, yeah. So, that's just the thing. And did you see what Ern put in there? If you haven't had Hattie Tuna on your podcast, you might as well just quit vaping and go home.
I can't see a chat. I can't see chat. I'm on a phone.
I was just letting you know, as we said, and Addie laughed at him. So
Who said that?
Ern, Featherless Rocker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, you guys are a riot. I love you guys. That said, let's get off here so we can all meet over on the other. Like I said, do something with dogs in it. Just do random stuff with dogs and let them know, that they, like you're talking about earlier and it came up in chat, our pets matter, and their pet is their baby. That's what they have. So their four-legged baby is Nico. So let's celebrate Nico tonight. Why not? So I think that sounds like a fun idea.
Absolutely.
And you can still do banana balls if you want, whatever. I know somebody's going to do it. All right.
Oh.
All right. I love you guys. Yeah, go check him out this weekend and with the podcast. And I can't wait to see the new. I can't wait to see the actual YouTube. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we're totally looking forward to having that back and forth with the chat.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really refreshing. I like it on the days when someone comes in and they're down and you see them get picked up, and it's like, yes,
yep,
that's what makes it worthwhile every day. Just one person, doesn't have to be every show, but when you have that one person there and it helps,
yep,
you see that breakthrough, it's like, yes, it's all worth it. So
you reach that one person.
Yep, exactly. Or someone in chat reaches that person. It's not always the person on screen. A lot of times chat will do it. If you got a good chat, and if you're in a chat and you can help someone, it doesn't have to be this one, do it. Do what you can. But have a good night, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night. Adios.